Hello and happy Thursday. Hopefully I have not muted myself, which I typically do on days like this. It's a Thursday and it's the Thursday Chill Out. Welcome to Creator Cafe. And today I have a guest on the show. Phil Sledge is going to be my guest. He'll be coming on in a second. And Phil is we just go way back in the day of when we were both on playing around with YouTube, and we both used to use Panasonic cameras, and we both found each other on the interwebs around probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, when we were both doing filming and things like that. So Phil is a big user of Twitter, and he's got a very large Twitter following, and I thought it'd be good to bring him on today to have a chat about his Twitter workflows, where he started, some of the stuff he's been doing on YouTube, and Brian's joined us. So hello, Brian. Thanks for joining us there. It's nice to see you here again. So without further ado, if Phil is ready, I can see him in the room. I'll bring on Phil Sledge. Hello, Phil. Welcome to Creator Cafe on Thursday. How you doing?
Hi, Neil. I'm not too bad. I'm doing quite well for a Thursday. Yeah, I'm okay.
Good. Well, Phil, thanks for joining today. I mean, really, we want to have a chat about, let's go way back to where it all started for you. So you've got a very large Twitter following, but for people who actually don't know you very well, could you just maybe say a few words about who you are, what you do, and sort of what's your Twitter channel sort of all about?
My Twitter channel, well, I've been on Twitter now since 2008, and on there I've got a nice community of 121,000 followers. And mainly it's on dog and I rescue basset hounds for a charity. I just put that into on Twitter, which has been really working quite well. I've got a very active community on there, and it's been going really well. And I can't complain so far about it.
And primarily it's around photography, right? So you've taken or used to take a lot of photographs of animals and things, and you were breaking up a little bit. So it's really around a charity around basset hounds originally is where it started, right? Sorry, you were just breaking up a little bit when you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, like you, Neil, I started out in photography, and I got into pet photography in woods and beaches and things like that. And I started to put it on Instagram first, then I found out on Twitter. Then since then I've been using Lumix. Then I went into Canon cameras recently, and I've been using different lenses from everything really, and just trying more content on Twitter. It's a good test bed to try things out, and it gives you instant feedback of when things are good and things are bad. So yeah, it's quite good on that part.
So you can test basically what's working when it comes to working with the communities and things, and when you're putting different content out there, it's a good sort of test bed. Considering you've got 121,000 followers, then they're going to come back and say, well, I don't like this, or this isn't working, and things, right?
Yeah, I could check my analytics, and like some things really take off. They get some like 1 million impressions, and some things never take off, and they get less than 50,000 impressions. So yeah, on the photography side, good photography, good photos are really what really makes stand out from the crowd, because there's always the viral tweets what go round and round. But if you make your own content, then you could treat what you want to show people, and people really my community seems to really like it, and they give me a platform to elevate other things as well.
That's great. And so if you take me right back, so you originally started a YouTube channel back in when I think YouTube channel started, was it 2002? You said something like that. You had a YouTube channel for?
Yeah, some years ago. I can't remember. I can't. It was with an old Galaxy Note camera phone, and I set that up, and so whatever that was, and I just lost momentum with YouTube. It just seemed a
Right.
big task just seemed a long-winded task of videoing, editing, and then putting music to it, using Final Cut. And yeah, it just seemed a long-winded task, and I didn't have the time to commit to that. And so I thought a better option would be Twitter, which is quick, it's easy to do. You don't need a 10-minute video. You can do a 6-second video or up to a minute, and it's quicker, it's a lot better, and it's a lot easier to use, really. So because you don't need to have long form content.
And there's a lot more, I mean, obviously being a YouTuber myself, there is a lot more effort that goes into either creating videos and tutorials or whatever it was. And I think you started on YouTube as more of a vlog style YouTube channel, right? Where you were sort of documenting what was going on in your day, looking after your animals, and maybe just tell people about, just to give an idea that you live on a, well, it's almost like a farm, right? You have so many different animals and things. Could you just maybe tell people what you actually have? Because you don't just have dogs, you have chickens, and I mean, I don't know what you have now. You've grown quite a lot. So what do you have on your land?
Yeah, on my land today, as I think, I've got 5 dogs, two foster dogs. Yesterday, rescued 2 goats, alpacas, sheep, chickens, turkeys, ducks. I've got the full. Basically, it is a farm now, isn't it? I'm kidding myself, thinking it's nothing else, but it is a farm. And but that like you know me, Neil, but other people don't. 10 years ago, I lived in a suburban lifestyle, and
Right.
2 cars and all that, and a post stamp garden. Now I've got plenty of acres, and it's a totally different life. It's amazing what 10 years can change your life, and it has. I rescue animals now, rescue dogs, and but that provides a lot of content which reflects into my community and gets me interaction in the millions, which is great.
So do you talk a lot about your lifestyle, being on Phil's farm now, as we can call it? Is that what people seem to sort of take a liking to? Because I know with the dog rescue and posting the pictures of what you've done over the years, obviously that's gained a lot of traction for you on Twitter. But what do you think sort of escalated the Twitter following? Because we all have to start at 0 with Twitter, right? And you've gained a following, and we'll come on to the subscription thing that you do in a second, of over 121,000 now. So what do you think worked for you? How did you build that channel to the size, or the following, sorry, to the size that it is now?
Consistency, being there every day and tweeting some days 50 times a day. It seems a lot, but it's not really. You can do it within an hour, tweeting one tweet. Yeah, you can do it over an hour, and it's not 50 tweets from me. It's probably 5 tweets from me through the day, and the rest is replies back to my community. Spending time on small channels with less than 200 and giving them advice, or just even replying, because my community sees I've replied, then they find out what that person who I replied to. So it's like a ripple effect on smaller accounts. So the more I do that, the better for the algorithm on
Right.
Twitter, really.
And you mentioned before about how the algorithm actually penalizes accounts for where you end up following. If you have a following ratio that's sort of unbalanced, whereby you're following maybe 1,000 people, but you only have 5 followers yourself. Twitter doesn't like that, right? It likes the fact that you have obviously more of a following, and that engagement is the one that's helping the growth, I think, right? You mentioned something before on our pre-show before that.
Yeah, it's basically, if you're following 1,000 people, you can't control that 1,000 people. why would you follow that many people nowadays? It doesn't seem to follow back. It doesn't work. It affects your algorithm in a big way because ultimately, it affects your algorithm because that you could follow somebody in 2 years, that account could turn toxic and posting spam and not really good content you want to be linked to. But because you follow that account, your account will be linked to that account. So the algorithm it'll show you that content to that account. So if you don't want to follow them in real life, why would you follow them on your social? That's basically it, really. It's you can see I follow 2 people. One of them is Ricky Gervais, who I've had a lot of interaction with, and the other one is a ghost account which I can't get rid of. But it's that you should be aiming for. Get rid of people you don't speak to on there or you don't know, and it's just treat it like a business, and that's where you want to be. It's like, I don't know if you're the same as me. Back 5 years ago, YouTube, I was subscribed to probably about 100, maybe 150 channels on YouTube, and eventually over the years I've filtered all that out now, and only got the content I really want to watch. It's just the same. It's just the same for YouTube. It is on Twitter. We've all subscribed to, let me subscribe, and we've ended up with a plethora of subscriptions we're not really interested in, aren't we? So that's how I produce them.
And I think it's interesting. I mean, I was the same as you. So I actually ended up looking at how to create a script to get rid of all my people that I subscribed to originally, and I'm quite targeted now. The people that I'm interested in, either with the Ecamm family or with specific people that I have interaction with, I'll subscribe to them and follow them. But I typically every year have a bit of a subscriber clean out where the ones that I'm not going to follow anymore, I will just remove because there's no point. So just talk to me a little bit about how you do your interaction then, because obviously there may be channels, Twitter channels I'm talking about, that you're interested in. Do you just simply have them then on lists, and then they will pop up in a list as having, and instead of following, the sort of the workflow for Twitter is to have all these people that you're interested in sort of categorized lists, and then you'll see them pop up, and then you interact with them that way. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, basically on my timeline, I use TweetDeck like you, but on my main Twitter page, I have lists pinned to the top. So, like dog accounts on Twitter, content creators, they're all in lists. So I make, like you're in my original timeline list, the people I used to follow first followed, and so you're in a list, and so I've got probably about 50 lists, and I just go through the people I want to see to that day, and just use, rather than following people, I just use lists. Then you can categorize the people into like pet content creators, dog accounts, Twitter news, and so on, and YouTubers. So yeah, I've got 50 lists, but out of them 50 lists, the dog accounts on Twitter, that's got probably 150 followers on that list. So you critique the list, and people follow that list. So they when you build a bit of a following, they like the list, so they go back into that list because they think, well, Phil's approving this list, so they follow that list, and then so it works quite well that way.
That's right. I forgot that so other people on Twitter can follow other people's lists if you make them public, right? So if you've got a public list with all your favorite, and I've done that as well. I think I've got one with live streaming people that somebody else created, which is interesting. So then you can just simply follow their list and just, I guess, take advantage of the work that they've been doing to curate and filter out the people that they want to have on their list, which is interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
let's just say, go on, sorry.
That is the best way, really. It's
right.
It's if you make lists. I know it's an old saying, build a list, but that's the best way forward, really.
Right. That's cool. I'm just going to say a quick hello to a couple of people who've joined as well. So hopefully they'll come up here. So hello, Gretchen. Nice to see you. And I think Keith has joined us as well. Hey, Keith. Thanks for joining as well. This is a different take for me because, typically on this channel, I'll do tutorial videos and we'll talk to people about their YouTube and their content journey. But people do forget that Twitter is another outlet. Twitter is another way of advertising what you do, whether you be selling something and so on. And Twitter's really sort of trying to get in the mindset of, well, obviously they did the thing similar to Clubhouse, right? If you remember that. I think you didn't, yeah. So they did Twitter Spaces, which is an audio broadcast only. So it's one to many. And do you use, I've seen you a couple of times on Twitter Spaces. Do you use them quite a lot? Not so much? Have they been quite effective? I know I've been on one with you, but what do you think about Spaces audio to start?
Yeah, I think they're really good. I've been in a couple different countries: Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, South Korea, and just jump into a space and people in a foreign language say Phil Sledge and they give me a microphone and I speak, and which is very strange, but it's nice to come out of your comfort zone in a different language and to break into different markets, and that's what spaces give you. They give you the opportunity to get into different markets on the social media. But yeah, it's good fun. I really recommend it. I've been using more and more spaces because it's just as simple as speaking at your phone and pressing spaces and joining one. But it's good fun, and you don't have to speak; you can just listen.
Yeah.
But it's good fun.
It's an impromptu conversation, isn't it?
Well.
Yeah. I was just going to come on to that. So now they've gone into the bite that they can use video now. So now you've got a video version of Spaces where the host will be in a vertical format, right? And then he'll have, or she will have, sort of co-hosts and people on the side. I've not joined one of those yet. I haven't seen many people doing them, but I guess they'll become more popular.
Yeah, the more people use it, the more popular it will be, and yeah, it's good for then you've got that interaction because, like I've told people before, with your profile picture, make your profile picture like yours, you're a person, and people like interacting with people, and that's why back to my Twitter, my content. It's just me. It's just my content on the farm, and just interacting with my dogs and animals and what I'm doing. And people like that. People like seeing other people interact. And but it's good.
I think people use this term a lot, to be authentic. When you're trying to be on your social media platforms, there's a lot of people who have this fake persona, right? They're not the same person that they are when you meet them, right? They're completely different. And I think with your channel and what you do, I know it's like WYSIWYG, if you remember that old saying, what you see is what you get, right? So what you see with you on your video, when you sometimes get up very early in the morning. I used to watch some of your videos. It's like, well, you've already posted a video and you've been up since 5 a.m. or something with the chickens. Like you're up with the chickens, literally. Just seeing how you are, right? And what you're doing today. And there might be 30 seconds, it might be a minute, but they're fun just to watch. And it's an insight into your life. And if people are interested in you, then why not? And clearly people are interested with a following of a.
Yeah, they are interested, and I know they are the community. I've got the main core community is, and I've got 121, but it's probably about 5,000 who generally interact with me, and then I can break that down into subscribers and things like that. But yeah, they are good at. But on the flip side, I interact with them with their lives as well. So I do when people I've been speaking to for 5 years plus, I do interact with their family lives and find out what they're doing, and it's good fun. You build a bit of a community. and yeah, it's good. Like I say, the interaction between Twitter and YouTube works quite well. So yeah,
And
that's quite
it's not
good.
just a one-way street. Sorry, right? It's in terms of, and that's what it. I think that's what's important about any community, that you have a two-way interaction. It's not all about you. It's not all about what you're doing, and you're not interested in the followers. And we've heard this before, where it's nice to have X amount of fans. So you may have 121,000 followers on Twitter, but maybe as you said, 5,000 of those are the true sort of fans, the ones that are going to come back. They're the ones that are going to buy your digital product. They're the ones that are going to sort of take an interest and interact with you. And speaking of digital products, tell me about the subscription model that you've got now, and how did that come about, and how that's working out for you, and maybe explain for people that don't know about Twitter. You can have a where people subscribe to you, and then maybe talk a little bit about the calendar that you played around with and tried to set up last year.
Yes. Let's talk about subscriptions first. Subscriptions on Twitter, you can set up an account once you've been verified for subscriptions. I don't know if the applications are still being backlogged, but I got on very early doors with subscriptions, and it's a paid $3 a month subscription to my channel or account. And so out of them, my subscribers get to see exclusive content with that. And I've been doing it now for 6 months, and but I was splitting my content between my subscribers and my followers, and it was getting too much. So I said to my subscribers, I'm stopping doing all the behind the scenes stuff, and I'll post a photo now and there, but I'll stop. But I'm just really to support my account, and 99% of them said, Phil, we like your content, and we want to support you through this $3 a month. And I've built up a nice following, nice subscribers on there. And it's moving slowly because not many people know about Twitter subscriptions, and but it's slowly growing and growing, and it's a nice income to have to support the account.
Yeah.
To mainly buy more animal feed, and but it works quite well.
Right. So just to finish that conversation on the subscription side. So it's a bit like what you have with YouTube as well, right? So YouTube now, you can have like a subscription model where you could get exclusive content. It's like a membership model in Twitter, and then Patreon is another one where you can have like that as well. So yeah, and I don't think Twitter should be ignored in that respect, because of the large following that people can have. When you enter that subscription model, you can provide exclusive content to them if you want, or you can, as you said, with your model at the moment, they're not asking for exclusive content, right? You're just posting stuff. They're supporting your channel, and you're just posting what you want to post to your main feed, right?
Yeah, it is. I just, on my subscriptions, I did a calendar last year. I offered a calendar. People supplied photos, and it went into a calendar. And if you subscribed to me, you got offered a calendar, and for that free. So, but that went really well. And but yeah, it went really, really, really well. And here's the calendar, and it went around the world. Went to New Zealand, Canada, America, South Korea, Iran, and went around the world. And
so if I'm right in saying, sorry, how this all started is you asked your Twitter following to send in a photograph of your pet, right? Send in a picture of your pet to be featured on a calendar that you would do a short-term run for, so like 100 runs of this calendar. And you would then critique people's photographs as they came in of the beloved animals, and then you would select 12, obviously.
13,
I think you're doing
13.
Was it 13? 13.
Front cover.
Front cover 13. Okay, so 13 images from whoever sent them in. So how many did you have to run through, well, you and your wife, how many did you and your wife have to sort of look at then?
Thousands. Yeah, thousands. Took us 3 weeks to critique down to 13. Originally we down to 80. We was always going to do maybe 2 or 3 different versions of a calendar, but logistically it became a bit of a nightmare. We wrote numbers on a lottery on piece of paper, and we just chose numbers, and that's how we chose the months really. Which we choose the 13 photos,
Right.
then we chose the months. So they will go on. But yeah, that went really well, and it's one. It got really well received on Twitter, and I think it was over 200,000 impressions over the time, and so it went really well. But
so what's go on, sorry.
Sorry, no, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say. So would you do it again? Would you do something similar again, where you ask your audience to provide you with something to build, either a calendar or maybe a brochure or something in the future? Because I mean, if it's all about photography, it's a nice way of getting the community to send you these images of the beloved pets, right?
Yeah, it is. And one of the things I do on a nightly basis, I done it this week, but normally I do a challenge, pet photo challenge. Please show, here's my dog or pet, whatever it is at the time. Please show me yours. And I get hundreds and hundreds of replies from people taking photos of dogs. Some are from professional photographers, some are just people with camera phones. And but yeah, and that gets a lot of interactions, gets a lot of people talking, and so a lot of people have spoke to me and saying, we get ready for that tweet to come, Phil, so we can post our photo we've got that day, or they've saved it for a couple of days for the right, because sometimes they do themes like dogs in hats, dogs in glasses, bops and things like that, and they save their photos for that moment so they can show that, and the community get on board. And then I see all of them. I go through them and like or reply back to people, so you get that interaction back. So it's not a waste of time posting a photo, and it goes into the abyss of Twitter. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, it's that interaction.
So what do you think really? When did you see your channel, your Twitter following take off? I mean, you still post on YouTube, so let's not. Obviously, you're really looking at two socials at the moment, and we talked about this before in the pre-show, that it's almost like you're having to think about, like, pick a team, pick a social that you should be focusing on. And obviously, we talked about at the beginning where YouTube was just a bit of effort, right? It is quite a chore to record, edit, upload, get it looking, and you're competing with a lot of people as well. But you've niched down quite a lot, because you started doing vlogging on your YouTube channel. You're always posting pictures, images of where you live, your farm, your dogs, and everything you did. And we'll talk about cameras and things a bit later. But you decided to start a Twitter channel, and you just find that easier, as you said before. But what escalated that channel to grow from, zero? I know you said the interactions and tweeting and things, but was there a point where you saw a real ramp up? Was there one particular or many particular things that you were doing in 1 year that you saw, well, this is where I'm going to now be focusing all my energy, and I'm not going to bother with YouTube as much?
Yeah, it's mainly it's time, and it's like most things, you need to put the time in to get the rewards back out. I know people, when you mention Twitter, they raise their eyebrows saying, oh, it's Elon's must be and all that, which it is now, but it's a lot easier since Elon's took over. It's a lot easier to get interactions. I can only see a benefit of it. I don't follow Elon and all that. I let him get on with his own little thing. But the interactions are a lot easier now on Twitter since they've launched like subscriptions, communities. is another thing on Twitter, which is big. And now they're launching new products every time. But the YouTube side of things, I subscribe to landscape photographers, and I watch their videos. I'm thinking, I can't make a video like that about dog photography, and I could make it 10 minutes long, get one of my dogs or alpacas and discuss cameras and things like that. But would there be an audience for that? I don't know. I could probably try, give it 6 months, but because of the short form content on Twitter, I could put a 3-minute video up, and I can see the analytics just drop off after 1 minute, because majority of people on Twitter are on their phones, and it's short form content for Twitter, whereas YouTube now, they mainly focus on, apart from shorts, but TV and long form content on there, and people to sit down and watch a 15 video on whatever, landscape photography, cow wow videos, things like that, and that's what people watch. But it's just, I think we both know that the time to video edit, filming's great, and then to get it all in, sit down, it's talking an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
To sit down and edit it and put them sound effects in from anybody and all that. And I just think my audience don't want that, and I think it's just easier for shorter form content. I've done YouTube lives, I've done Twitter lives, and people seem to like that kind of thing, the behind the scenes kind of setup, really. And but it's good. It's good.
And I think what you've said tonight is interesting, because you're basically picking a niche. And I'll just say hello to Marilu, who's just joined us. Hey, Marilu. And Keith is right. Editing is very time consuming. Yeah, I mean, it can take hours for an edit for specific videos, and especially tutorial videos takes a long time. So I think what you said tonight is just to pick a platform that works for your schedule as well, because you work full time, right? And then you have a farm, and you're up at, I don't know, 5 a.m. every day tending to the animals and everything. And then you've got to go to work. And then how do you find the time to then throw in 2 hours, 3 hours for editing? By the time you come back home, you're done, and you want to just have some tea and chill out, right? Not start editing videos for 3 hours. And it's easier, I think, when people are doing content creation full time, and that's their full-time gig. So, and then as you get bigger on YouTube, we all know that a lot of these big YouTubers, they have teams, right? They're going to get people to edit for them. So all that, they're just the talent, right? They're just the one that's talking, and the editing is done by other people. But for small-time YouTubers like myself, you have to do all the work. So it's a bit of a different position for me now, where I'm doing more of this full-time and not working full-time. But yeah, it is interesting. Keith basically says it used to take him over 40 hours editing wedding videos when you ran your own business. That is tough, because I vowed never to film a wedding video, because it's far too much stress. You can imagine getting that wrong or messing something up, and you can't go back and say, could you just get married again? Just go through all that again, please. It's stressful, and for wedding photographers as well, it's stressful. So I don't know whether you've ever been in that position of doing any events. I've done a few events, but not weddings. I'd never do that. It's far too stressful.
I've done a few events, basset waddles mainly, where there's probably about 40 or 50 bassets, and people think, oh, Phil's a photographer, he'll bring a camera and some lenses, and but you can never get the photos, because people just want to talk to me about my social media and how I get photos and all that. So I never actually get my camera out, and it's stressful, isn't it, doing all that kind of thing. I can remember my son, he chaperoned someone's wedding, and he said he'd never do that again. It was just much responsibility on someone's biggest day of their lives, and they deserve a gold medal, whether photographers and videographers.
Definitely.
They deserve a gold medal for that.
So talk to me a little bit about your gear journey, your camera journey. So how we found each other was back in the days of when we both were Lumix users. We both had Lumix cameras. I think you started with cameras even before I knew about Lumix. My journey started with a Panasonic GH4, and that's where I started all my sort of main video stuff on YouTube. But I think you started, was it with the G9 or something like that? Was that your original camera from Panasonic, or do you have something before?
No, I had something before that. I had a GH2. My son's cast off. My son used to work for Lumix, so I had all his cast offs. Then I started to buy GH4. That's when me and you started talking to each other. The 5, G9. Then I went into the S1s, Rs, and S1R, S1. Then I jumped ship. I had all that lens and glass. I went into Canon, and now I had the RP, R, and now I've got the R6. And that's my camera choice at the moment.
The R6. And I was the same as you. Oh, this is your R6. Let's go back.
Yeah, it's my R6. And and with a 24-105 lens on, which I bought from MPB. I would never buy a used camera ever again after buying from them. The service they provide is unbelievable, and you pay a bit more, but yeah, all my lenses now and all my camera gear is from MPV.
Yeah, I sold all my gear to them as well, and I just quick comment from Phil. Yeah, I mean, it is nice to get people's live stories on video and things. That is cool. It's just very stressful. Back to the wedding thing. So people who are watching right now, just post in the comments whether you're a Sony, Canon, Lumix, or Fuji, or Nikon. Let's talk about Nikon real quick. They've just bought Red, haven't they? Did you hear the news today? So Nikon have decided, they sued them last year for whatever reason. I didn't read into the story. So Nikon sued Red last year, or the other way around, and now this year they've decided to buy them. So I don't know. Are we going to getting a hybrid cinema camera from Nikon? I've never really used for Nikon before. Keith said he is a Lumix user. Bravo. And our history, we were saying, Keith, Phil and I, so I was the same. I was a Panasonic user. In fact, I actually started on the Canon 7D. That was my first entry into DSLR video, because that was sort of the later model of the 5D Mark II, where it all started for me with Vincent Laforet's Reverie video. But then I started the GH4 because it was a compact, mirrorless, hybrid camera that did everything, right? It was 4K. I mean, in its time and all the features, it was just an absolute fabulous little cinema camera, right? But and that really worked for me. Marilu says currently she's on Sony, but Canon has a special place in my heart. There's something about Canon colors. I know everybody talks about Canon color science and things like that, and the older Sonys, the A7, whatever it was. I don't know Sony history very much. I'm a Sony user now myself, but the colors weren't good at all. And with Panasonic, I found that the colors were really good, but the autofocus was just shite, wasn't it? I mean, that was the problem. The GH4, the GH5, and I went to the S1H. I mean, I spent a lot of money. I sold my other cameras, went to the S1H and thought, well, this is going to be better. And it was full frame and it looked amazing, but you know, the autofocus wasn't great. And when you're a solo content creator and you're relying on autofocus to be your friend, I remember you taking lots of videos in fields, and for whatever reason, however you'd set your GH5 up, it worked pretty well. You was always pretty locked on with your focus, but mine was just all over the place, and I tweaked and changed and tweaked and changed. I don't know how you managed to get it. Maybe you stayed very still and wasn't as animated as I am when I'm talking. I don't know how it worked for you, but
yeah.
Oops. Sorry,
you know as well as I. Since I jumped from Lumix to Canon, the autofocus, it's light and, like you said with Sony, it's just light and day. The difference, I know the new Lumix G9 II and S5 II, they're up to speed now, but Lumix took too long in getting from there to where they are today. I don't know, 5-6 years from the GH5, even the GH6 didn't have autofocus properly, so it took them 6 years. I've still got some Lumix. I've got my G9 lenses. We've got a load of lenses, glass, and I'm still toying with the idea to get a G9 Mark II, but I don't think I will. I just think I'll invest in Canon because it's a lot better. It's a lot better system.
And it's not a cheap thing to change manufacturer.
No.
With you got all your lenses. So I had dedicated Lumix glass. I got the Micro Four Thirds obviously with GH4 and GH5, and then with the S1H it's an L mount, so it's the same as the Leica mount. So it's a completely different mount. And I still had some old Canon lenses because my wife used the 5D Mark III, which I've still got here, and I've got one lens left. I've got like a 50mm, like the $100, the nifty 50, right, millimeter lens for the Canon. But everything else, apart from my GH5 that I just can't get rid of, is just sat here looking at me right now. I just can't get rid of it because I did a little documentary when I moved to Portugal, and the whole thing was filmed on that, and it never overheated. It never let me down. The battery life was hours and hours and hours. It was just a workhorse. And yeah, I still might take it out and do some more. I don't, it's just, it's one of those cameras where you think, it's just served me so well. I just don't want to get rid of it. But the others all went, all the glass, all the Canon cameras went, the lenses that my wife had. I sold all my Panasonic lenses, everything went. And then I just went all in on Sony, which was a bit of a change, but I just wanted the autofocus, like you said, and I think I would have considered Canon, but I didn't know much about Canon, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I chose Sony over Canon. I think at the time, when I was looking at the cameras, I don't know whether they are, I don't know where it was, but they are, like, you've got the R6 now, so that's a much better mirrorless camera, right? I think some of the Canons were overheating, weren't they? I think, especially when they're doing like 4K, things like that. You've had any problems with yours, or is it good now?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I've never overheated. I've never recorded over 10 minutes, so it's mainly for photography. And
right.
I would never. Like I said, I've still got my Lumix and my glass for that. And but yeah, there's something about like your GH5. I had to get rid of mine to get a G9, but yeah, it's something about the heartstrings. You can't get rid of them, can you?
No.
I know people keep their GH4s and 5s, so people say, I can't get rid of it. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because I've had it from day one, and I'm just looking at my camera store over there, and I've got loads of lenses and things in there, which I do need to get rid of. And I've got a GoPro 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got the collection. I'm on the 11 here now, and
right.
That's
fun.
We still buy them, don't we?
I know. That's the problem. So let me just show people where to find you real quick. So this is your site. So this is your Twitter site, and there you have 121,000 followers and 2 following, which is really funny. And it's an interesting point you made though about you don't need to follow all these people. There's no point. And there is some of your chicken. How many chickens do you have, Phil? I mean, you must have a lot of chickens, right?
Yeah, just 28. But you can see my profile a bit further up. It says wow, that with the dog and the chickens.
Oh yeah.
It says wow. It says wow, 4.5 members. Thank you for all for joining. And that's, if you scroll back up to my profile, that's the dog community there with 91,000 members. When I did that last year, I had 4,500 members. Now it's up to 91.
Oh, this here.
members.
Sorry, yeah. So communities are really key as well, right? In Twitter. So a community is whereby it's almost like a Discord community, like a closed group. So you would join the community, and then that's where you can have conversations between members of the community, right? Like a Facebook group and things like that. That's the premise behind it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the premise behind it. And because it's an open community, people join who I don't vet. So there's spam in there and things like that. So, but Twitter are trying their best to sort that out. And there's moderate. Obviously it's my community. I'm the admin, but I've got moderators in there who do their utmost. They're cute, aren't they? They're nice animals.
The alpacas.
Yeah.
My gosh, you got a lot of stuff on here. Who's that? Anyway, it's really it's a really good community that you have, and it's just growing. And do you have any sort of longer term plans then for Twitter? You just want to keep plugging away at Twitter, keep chugging away at it. Is that your long term plan?
My long term plan on there is to change. This week or last week, I've changed one or two things, and I'm going to change a lot more in the next couple of weeks, actually. It's always nice to change things. Don't get stuck in a rut. Things work really well, but then they get boring. Because Twitter moves so fast, you can change things quite quickly and then try new things. Your audience will still be there, hopefully. And but yeah, you just try new things, and
Right.
don't be scared to come out of your comfort zone. Like today, it took 2 years to get me in front of a camera on YouTube live. But yeah, it's
It's not
nice
been
to
too
get out
terrible
there.
though, right? It's not been too horrific, right? It's just two people having a chat and other people join and interact, and it's fun. And I'd love you to come back as well. I'd like to talk a little bit about gear as well and things that you use it a bit more, and maybe some of your content strategy and stuff. But here's Phil's link. So if you want to follow Phil on Twitter, he won't follow you back, but you can follow him at Phil_Sledge. And I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I only follow Ricky because he interacts with a charity I do.
Yeah,
And
which is great.
he donated 1.9 million to a charity.
Exactly.
So if anyone wants to do that, I will follow you.
Great.
And,
Not a problem. And we'll just stick around after I close the live, Phil. I just talked to you before you disappear. So if you just hang on, the screen will go black in a second when we cut off. But it's been a pleasure to have you on the show today, and it's really insightful to talk to somebody who's actually really pushing Twitter and making, well, an income from Twitter through the subscription model, and the fact that you've worked really hard to get that large subscriber model. And I think a lot of content creators are really not taking a lot of notice of Twitter, and maybe that we should start looking and going a little bit more full on in Twitter, at least doing a bit more regular posts, as you said, building those communities, getting those lists, interacting more with people, because at the end of the day, it's all about building that following, that community, and that interaction. I think that's what drives Twitter, right? And that's what drives the way that they're using it. So
yeah. The more interaction you have on Twitter, don't be scared of it. Just post a photo wherever you are. If you've got your phone in front of you, take a photo, post it. I'm here at the bus stop. You might go into the abyss, but one or two people will see it, and then one or two people soon turn to one or two hundreds into the thousands.
Right. Exactly.
Into tens of thousands. And within 6 months, I've been given a challenge in our pre-recording to get you to 1,000.
Right.
And I'll take that challenge on board, and I will get you up there. And
all right, I've got to do what you say, though. You see, that's it. You've got to be disciplined, and I've got to do what you say. But I mean, that's the main thing, though, right? You've just got to be consistent with these things, and if you put some effort in, growth will come. And I think that's the main thing that you're talking about right now.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, right. I will see you later.
All right,
Neil.
see you in a minute then. All right, well, thanks, Phil, for joining us today. Phil Sledge, everybody. Again, if you want to know how to get hold of Phil, he's on Twitter at Phil_Sledge. Sledge. It's been a pleasure talking to Phil today, and thanks to everybody who's joined us on the live stream. I will see you at the regular time of 5 o'clock next Thursday for the live stream. I'll be posting some videos and stuff like that. And if you want to support me, you can always go ahead and buy me a coffee at Neil Farrimond, which is my name, on Buy Me a Coffee there. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you soon and see you next week. Take it easy. Bye.